I know, this isn't nominated for Best Picture, but bear with me. Hey, I'm Amy, and welcome back. Today I'm talking about I, Tonya, and I know, this film is not nominated for Best Picture, but I just loved this movie so much. I love Margot Robbie's performance, I loved Allison Janney's performance, and both of them are nominated for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress, respectively, as well as the entire film is nominated for Best Editing. And I had watched it before nominations were announced, and even though it wasn't nominated, I still wanted to do a video on it, but I just didn't know when I would post it, and one of my coworkers suggested posting it around the Olympics. And today just happens to be the day of the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies, so what a better time to post this video. So without further ado, my thoughts on probably one of the most funny movies of the year, I, Tonya. Like I said at the beginning, I absolutely loved the performances in this film. Margot Robbie probably won't be taking home Best Actress, but she was superb anyways. She just transformed not only her look, but her actions. I don't think I've seen her look this different for a role since she played Harley Quinn. And then Allison Janney. I have so much to say about her performance. I absolutely loved it so much. She was just so crazy, and she just played this manipulative mom so well. In a comment on one of my previous videos, someone said that they thought that Allison Janney's performance was a little bit one note. And I talked about it in a reply comment, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit on here because it's something that I feel holds true and why a lot of people really enjoyed Allison Janney's performance and why she won the Golden Globe. I think a lot of people enjoyed it because it was so one note. I watched a couple interviews with the actual mother of Tonya Harding. The way Allison Janney portrays her is pretty much the exact way she is in real life, just slightly exaggerated, and I feel like Allison added a little bit more compassion on the mother's part towards Tonya. Towards the end of the movie, when Tonya's at the Olympics, you do see her just soften up a little bit. Not a whole lot, but she's not as rigid and overbearing and demanding in that scene. She's not as haughty, I guess. You see her soften just a tiny bit for her daughter. And I only say that because from all of the interviews I've seen with Tonya Harding's mom and from what Tonya has said about her mother, she has zero compassion for anybody, especially her daughter. You get the sense that in real life, she absolutely hated Tonya, and you get that feeling from Janney. So I feel like saying that she played a one-note performance is kind of, I don't know the word for it, I guess stupid, because this woman literally is just one note. She's just a really horrible, shitty person. And then there's good old Sebastian Stan, who looks even more different from any other character he's done than Margot Robbie does, with those glasses and that stupid porno stash. Oh my gosh. But you really see the versatility in his acting. He goes from just this really weak man when it's his side of the story and Tonya's the one beating him up, to kind of just this really strong, powerful man beating Tonya up when it's Tonya's side of the story. He just flips the switch, and you see him being normal, and when Tonya's telling the story, you see him being normal, and then it just snap, he just goes nuts on her. And I feel like Sebastian Stan just did such a great job at just turning on a dime in those scenes. In a lot of the posters and trailers for this movie, they talked about it being the Goodfellas of ice skating movies, and I totally agree with them. Goodfellas is probably my favorite movie of all time. I love Goodfellas so much. I love Scorsese, and to say that this is the Goodfellas of ice skating, of Olympic movies, is just hitting the nail on the head. One thing Scorsese is really good at is using music and music cues. This movie does that also. I feel like they really took a lot of inspiration from Goodfellas to this, and my favorite music cue is kind of towards the beginning when Tonya is going to her first competition, or the first competition that they really show her in. And the way that they bring in this competition is Tonya and Levon are arguing in the kitchen, and when you see this little twitch in Tonya's face, just switching from normal to very annoyed at her mother, the strings from Mozart's Concerto No. 2 just start in just that super rapid violin, and it just leads into the competition, and it's just so beautiful and seamless that I am not surprised that this movie is nominated for Best Editing. And it's just the transition from diegetic to non-diegetic that just makes this movie so beautiful and just a work of masterpiece. A masterpiece. Something else it kind of takes from Goodfellas is the interview and like narration over top of the scenes. In Goodfellas, they don't really do a whole lot of interview type stuff, but they do have Henry Hill narrating over different portions of his story, and it really breaks it up, showing Jeff and Tanya's different sides of the story. Something it does a lot differently from Goodfellas is the breaking of the fourth wall. Tanya and, well, mostly Tanya looks at the camera and talks to it, something that they do later on in the movie, and it feels very unsettling when Sebastian Stan's character of Jeff does it, as well as Tanya's coach. They had initially introduced just Tanya doing it, so for me, when they brought in the other two characters going to the camera and just talking to it, it felt very weird for me and kind of out of place, but it's not something that I just have a huge issue with. It's just something that kind of annoyed me at the time. One other thing I wasn't too fond of in this movie was some of the effects and green screen that they did, especially when ice skating. There's a couple points when she's like spinning around, or after she does her big triple axel and lands, she looks very green screened in, and it's very unsettling to me. And there's a couple times where you can very much tell that they took an ice skater and then put either Margot Robbie's face or the girl who plays young Tanya's face onto whoever is ice skating, because their face when they're spinning kind of goes over their arm, because the arm is like up in front of their face. So that was very, very weird, and probably one of the very few things that I did not like about this movie. And you can tell that she's green screened on there because her lighting is very much off from the rest of the lighting of her background. So that was took me a little bit out of the story. And since nobody really knows exactly what happened or the truth of it all, they bring that into the movie as well, with both Jeff and Tanya sharing their sides of the story and what they know happened, what they say happened. But it just would have been really nice if they brought that even more into the story, because it's wrapped up very nice and neatly, but having this conflict, especially since this is not a fully true telling of the story I've heard, it would have been really nice to kind of show a little bit messier of an ending, which would have made it a totally different story. But I think I really would have enjoyed seeing something messy like that, because it's a very different take on any other movie like this. Overall though, it still does a great job at giving a totally different look and totally different way of storytelling into this hilarious yet heartbreaking view of Tonya Harding's life. So that is all I have for I, Tonya. I know it's not a Best Picture nomination, like I said a million times already, but let me know out of the 3 nominations it has, which ones you think it will win. I will be talking about this a little bit more in my predictions video and where I think it will place in the categories it's nominated for. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because all through February and a little bit of March, I'm talking all Oscars, so stick around for that. But normally I talk movies, TV shows, and filmmaking and all of that fun nerdy stuff, so look forward to that, and I hope you stick around, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!